Thank you for taking the time out to watch this presentation. Our reason for being here is pretty simple and clear. We just want to increase the understanding of the dangerous rise of fentanyl so we can come together to take action for our community and our kids. Arizona's seeing a spike in overdoses and overdose deaths related to fentanyl. In fact, we're calling these overdoses now poisonings, and we'll get into that in just a moment. This time, I want to introduce myself. My name is Tim Lentz. I'm with the Peoria Primary Prevention Coalition. We call that 3PC. Because you're watching this on video, I would need you at this time to go ahead and pause this presentation, and using your camera, go ahead and scan the QR code to take a what we call a pre-survey. It just gives us an understanding of what you know already about fentanyl and your community. It takes a little bit of your biographical information, and then at the end of this presentation we'll do another post-survey, and it gives us an understanding of how well this presentation is doing in educating the public. So at this time I need you to go ahead and pause the presentation, scan the QR code, or enter that URL for SurveyMonkey and take that survey. When you're done with that, go ahead and hit resume play on this presentation. Okay, thank you for taking that pre-survey. We really appreciate it. It helps us cater to the needs and help us understand the community and what we can do. All right, like I said, fentanyl's here. There's just no doubt. These are some articles from the Phoenix, Arizona area. And thousands of these counterfeit pills that are commonly confiscated by police contain a deadly amount of fentanyl, and we'll get into what a deadly dose is to an adult here in just a moment. This is a startling statistic. 95% of overdose deaths in children 17 and under are caused by fentanyl poisoning. Now, the new data that came out in November of 2022, which is considered the 2021 report, puts this statistic now at 95.6, which would round up to 96% of the overdose deaths in children 17 and under are caused by fentanyl. And again, we call this poisoning, so most of these kids do not know that they're taking fentanyl. So it's not an overdose, it's more of a poisoning. And again, at any time during this presentation, because you are watching it online or on a video, you can go ahead and pause it, take down some notes, and resume the video when you're ready, or again, watch it at 1.5 or 2 speed. And I'm going to go through these a little bit quicker just because you have the capability of stopping the presentation and taking some notes down. All right. Here's a story from Isaiah's mom. And it can be downloaded from the saclaaz.org toolkit website if you want to watch some more of these videos, but listen to her story here.
Isaiah was 15. He was in the middle of his sophomore year in high school. He just had this light about him. I get notification from a family member that there's a picture of Isaiah passed out. They're saying that he took a pill. You know, he went to go lay down and he just wouldn't get back up. We're pretty sure that your son ingested fentanyl, and they're telling me he's not gonna make it. And I just told him, like, you know, I love you no matter what. And you didn't deserve this.
Learn more at talknowaz.com.
We're going to discuss the possibility that teens can take in reporting this later on in the slide slow, but we're going to talk basically about three aspects of this issue about fentanyl. First, we're going to take a look at what fentanyl is, how big that problem is, and of course, what we can all do about it. Fentanyl is an opioid. It's in a class of drugs usually given after surgery, post-surgery for pain and for pain reduction. Prescription opioids are prescribed by a doctor to treat moderate to severe pain. Those examples are like oxycodone, oxycontin, hydrocodone or Vicodin, fentanyl, yes, prescription fentanyl, morphine, methadone. Now, illegal fentanyl is synthetic or man-made, and this opioid is 50 times more powerful than heroin and 100 times more powerful than morphine. In fact, it's sold for its heroin-like effect, and heroin is also an opioid. It's an illegal opioid, and it comes usually in the form of powder or as black tar, as we know about it. Okay, but fentanyl sometimes, and it's more recently been mixed with a bunch of different drugs, whether it's cocaine or amphetamines, but it's getting mixed into all these. Now, here's a penny, and up in that right-hand corner here of this is the amount of fentanyl that it takes to kill an average human being with no tolerance to fentanyl at this point. Okay, here's the prescription fentanyl that is controlled by pharmacies and doctors, which is totally regulated, and some people are getting it during surgery or post-surgery, and a lot of people are thinking, oh my gosh, this is fentanyl, it's going to kill me. No, the doses that you get from the doctor and the pharmacy are prescribed, and they're coming in a controlled form. Okay, illegal fentanyl, however, you have no idea how much fentanyl is mixed in these pills. Again, it's a synthetic substance made by man, and it's stamped out to look like some of these OxyContin pills, oxycodone pills, Vicodin, anything, but the amount of fentanyl in these drugs vary from pill to pill. So what a lot of the people that are making these pills, what they do is they mix some fentanyl with filler, and it's just like making a chocolate chip cookie. You put in some dough, and then you pour the chocolate chips in and mix them out. When you start stamping out the cookies, one cookie can have 2 or 3 chocolate chips. Some of them have 5, some of them have 8. So you never know. It's just like with fentanyl, you never know. Half of a pill could have a deadly dose. The other pill could hardly have any in it at all. So that's the danger in some of these pills. You don't know the amount that each of them. And commonly in the common form, these pills are now coming in what look like sweet tart colors. Again, Phoenix PD made this bust last summer in August of 2022. Again, M30s is some of the popular sizes. What they've got now recently is they're coming out with different shapes and different colors. We got a shield looking, almost looks like a heart-shaped fentanyl pill. Again, they can be made to look like Xanax, as in that picture. Some of these street names, M30s or blues is what they're called. There's also some of the other names. You can look at that there. Again, these pills can be swallowed, snorted, smoked, injected, just like most drugs. You can crush them up and snort them, smoke them, inject them. Again, what's been popular recently around the United States are these pills, these M30 pills. Okay, now that we have an understanding, how big is this problem? Okay, now in 2020, nearly 2 out of 3, that's 61% overdose deaths involve fentanyl. It's the #1 substance found in fatal overdoses. And again, we're changing the terminology from overdose to poisoning, because most of these people don't know the amount of fentanyl that they're getting, because it's hard to tell what they're getting. They don't even know that they're getting a fentanyl pill sometimes. Sometimes they think they're getting a Xanax or a back pain pill or an OxyContin pill from somebody, and they don't realize the amount of fentanyl in. So it's a kind of a misnomer to say overdose. And again, even some users are, overdosing, or they're being poisoned because the amount that's in the pill is they're unaware. So why is this occurring? But if you take a look at this trend, it's clear that the number of counterfeit pills containing fentanyl has increased at an alarming number. Between 2020 and 2021, the DEA Phoenix Field Division calculated the DEA seized approximately 100% more of the counterfeit pills containing fentanyl between 2021 and for 2020, DEA seized more than 6 million. Now we do have some new information. This slideshow has not been updated yet, but as of 2022, that increase would be 22 million. So going from 12 million to 22 million is the new statistic for 2022. But between 2021 and 2022, 6 million to 12 million, that's a 100% increase. And 12 million to 24 would be another 100% increase. So it's almost another 100% from 2021 to 2022. And these are seizures, drug seizures from the Phoenix Field Division of the DEA. Okay, there's a lot of you have seen the billboards going out about don't be faked. You can't tell the difference between a knockoff pill on the street that contains the deadly substance fentanyl or what's in a controlled prescription pill.
Teens like me are dying from fentanyl poisoning. I know because I lost my brother Alex to one pill made with fentanyl. Alex didn't know the dangers of fentanyl and that one pill can kill. It can happen to anyone, and it changes everything. These pills look like they come from a pharmacy, but they don't. They're fake. Drug dealers on social media are not your friend. They take your friends. They took my brother. Don't let them take you. Fentanyl can end it all.
We're hearing a lot more of these stories about young teens being taken by fentanyl, and a lot of them are doing it for curiosity. A lot of them are doing it for stress relief. COVID did a number to a lot of the youth that we have, and of course dependence. After you get hooked, fentanyl has a quick turnaround as far as tolerance is concerned. And sometimes it's from use to use. The tolerance goes up and goes pretty deep, so they need just a little bit more the next time, and just a little bit more, and they become dependent on it. But that's what's driving substance use. A lot of kids can be at higher risk for what we call an adverse childhood experience, but these don't determine a child's destiny. It just shows that they have a higher risk of becoming dependent. Again, family history, diagnosed or undiagnosed health issues, the mental health issues, a traumatic event, or they might have some impulse control difficulties. Again, it does not determine your child's destiny. It just says, hey, they have a higher probability, a higher risk of getting involved in some substance use. Okay, so what about it? All right, there's a lot of things that we can do. Prevention, of course, is the number one thing we can do by talking to our kids about it, having them make healthy choices and not use drugs. Screening and some type of intervention when we start seeing that. Schools are real good about stepping in. Teachers know when something's off. Communicate with your teachers. Overdose prevention, we'll talk about naloxone here towards the end, and how you can carry it and get it. And then, of course, if it's already become a dependent issue or close to that, you can find help, and we've got resources for you to do as well. Okay. A lot of the greatest impact on our kids come from our families, okay? And please note, whenever we say parents in this presentation, we just mean anyone who cares for us, okay? And while it seems that kids don't listen, parents have the power to affect their kids' attitudes and behaviors involving substance abuse, okay? Talk early, talk often. That's one of the biggest prevention techniques that parents, again, and caregivers can talk. Offer advice, offer some guidance, and set limits, especially with social media. Show your concern. A lot of teens, when you show anger for what they've done, they immediately shut down. Ask some open-ended questions, not questions that they can answer yes or no to. Understand your teen's point of view. I know it's hard. We've all been teenagers at one point, and as we become adults, we think, gosh, these teenagers are ridiculous. But remember the frame of mind they're in, what they're experiencing, what they're going through in life. Try to understand their point of view. And here's one of the biggest things I want to tell parents is establish a rescue plan. Okay, and here's an example. You want to talk with your teen if they're ever in a situation, whether it's a party, whether it's at the movie theater, it doesn't matter, school, whatever's going on and they're in trouble and they can't get out of the situation. For example, they're at a party, just arrived with their friends, all of a sudden they see this drug use going on and they feel a lot of peer pressure and they don't know how to get out of it. Come up with a code word that your son or daughter can text you, like, I forgot to feed the dog, or I forgot to make my bed, or just, I'm sorry. That's it. If they just text you, I'm sorry, and text both parents in a group text, the parents get this text and they realize, hey, this is our code word. They're in trouble. They need to be rescued. At that time, you pick up your phone and you call your son or daughter, which they will answer because they're reaching out to you. And at that point, you can chew them out. Hey, what the heck? This is the last time that I told you should have made your bed, you should have fed the dog, you should have, whatever it is, fill in the blank. You're in trouble, mister, or you're in trouble, young lady. We are coming to pick you up now. You are grounded. And then the kid's got an excuse. Crap, I just got busted. My parents are coming to get me. I don't know what it is. It's, have the team put the blame on the parents. Parents come pick them up, gives them the address, and they're gone. This is a rescue plan. Give your team that out. Talk with them. Come up with this code word. Come up with this plan that whenever they need that and need to be rescued, you guys are on the same page. It's going to really build their confidence in you and build that relationship as well. Okay? Monitoring social media. I don't know if a lot of you realize this, but most drugs are being bought on Snapchat. They're being purchased on Snapchat, delivered to your door within 30 to 45 minutes, almost as quick as trying to get a meal delivered to your house or a pizza. Take note of the sites that your child visits. Keep track of the usernames and passwords. Now again, you're the parent. Monitor the social media. Let them know. A lot of these kids are creating fake accounts. So they'll give you one. They'll say, hey, here's my Snapchat account, Mom, or here's my Instagram account. And then they go and make another one. So make sure you communicate with your kids and say, hey, how many accounts do you have? And keep track of all of them. Set limits around the time that they're online. And again, kids should not be taking these phones to bed. I know a lot of kids are addicted to this, but if you start laying down the law and saying, hey, social media ends at this point, phones are put in my room or whatever, in the drawer, in the morning you can come and pick those up. And talk with them about what they're seeing and posting. Be active in your child's life. Have conversations. Hey, what are you seeing online? What are you noticing? Open conversations with them. Talk to them. Don't just bust them for what they do all the time. All right? Excuse me. So here's some non-opioid alternatives for managing pain. I'm just going to stop talking here for a second, and you could stop this if you need to. There's a lot. Your son or daughter may also receive opioid prescriptions after dental surgery. You can always ask your healthcare provider or dentist whether there are alternatives to ease the pain that don't involve opioids, because that's always a good option if they can tolerate and manage the pain without them. Okay, if you have drugs from surgeries or anything laying around the house, you can secure and dispose them. A lot of teens go looking in their parents' medicine cabinet for some old prescriptions, things that they can either sell or take themselves. So get rid of those, dispose of them. Peoria Police Department has a drop-off point at the police station that you can go in. We have drug take-back events all over the valley every 3 months. And I'll talk to you about the Disposamed, that you can look that up. But a lot of local coalitions, will do this on a quarterly basis. You can always go to dumpthedrugsaz.org to find prescription drug drop-off locations. And then, of course, the coalitions advertise whenever they have an up-and-coming drug take-back event that usually occur in January, April, July, and October. And usually April and October are run by the DEA, and they have several locations all over. Okay, a text between two young adults, took some perks, fentanyl. They could barely breathe. They're reaching out to their friend. The friend's telling them, hey, you got to get some help. And they're like, I don't want to go back to jail. Please don't tell anybody. I can't breathe. And moments later, when this text ended, this kid just went to sleep forever. And just like in that story about Isaiah at the beginning, the kids knew what was going on with Isaiah. They knew he was on something, and they didn't know what to do because they felt like they were going to get in trouble. We have what we call the Good Samaritan law in Arizona. Okay, it's in effect to I believe June 30th of this year, and it's anticipated to be renewed. It's still effective. It means when you have somebody that you know is either on drugs or you're around drugs and you're there, you can call 911 and not be busted. And I'm going to let this officer tell you about it.
I'm Deborah Black. I'm here to ask for your help to save lives during this opioid crisis. Individuals who have overdosed are being left to die because those around them are afraid to call for help. Arizona's Good Samaritan law protects those who call 911 when they are present during an overdose. On behalf of law enforcement, please make that emergency call. You will not be arrested. You plus naloxone are a combination that will save lives in Arizona.
Again, that Naloxone AZ website will come up again here. But again, tell your kids to always call 911, even if they've been using or if they're scared of getting busted. If they're calling to try and save somebody's life, they are not going to get in trouble for that. Okay, so fentanyl affects the heart and the lungs, and they slow it down and they weaken it, just like all the opioids. Okay, and usually overdose signs are, heavy nodding, deep sleep, hard to wake up or vomiting, slow, shallow breathing, choking sounds, snorting, gurgling, blue or pale lips, fingernails, skin, clammy, sweaty. Okay, call 911 first, then administer naloxone. We're going to go over that in a minute. If you don't have naloxone, the most common type that is being distributed now is not what you see on the bottom there, the injectable stuff. It's now the nasal spray. It's very easy to use, and a lot of the coalitions are getting this. You can go onto naloxoneaz.com and find a coalition that's close to you to have some naloxone on hand. And the nice thing is it usually doesn't expire for 2 to 3 years. It is sensitive to heat, so you can't keep it in your car in Arizona in the summer. All right, I'm just going to pause right there. Again, you can pause this if you need to. Here's a story about a guy who was saved by naloxone and turned his life around.
If this can be assistance to even the one person, that's what it's about. It's not about me. It's not about John Crow. But I did do drugs. I did overdose. I did get a second chance by the help of Narcan, paramedics, police officers. I lost nursing school. I was homeless. I had nothing. Now I have a house. I have a job. I have beautiful connections. I love the Lord. That's where I'm at now.
Saved by officers and paramedics coming to his aid when he was dying from an overdose, again, a poisoning. What you need to know is your body develops this tolerance or dependence, and you need more and more of that drug to get that same high. And so if your child's using opioids or counterfeit pills, again, for any number of reasons, two people can try that same opioid at the same time. One touches it and just has a great high. Another one develops a substance use disorder. It doesn't matter. So to stay away from it to begin with is the best way to avoid it. And sometimes these physical and emotional withdrawals can last for a long time, and emotional withdrawals for months, even with any. Okay. Again, if your child's using opioids, we're going to go over here and talk about changing the way you talk. But get your child in to get an evaluation. Get him or her into the doctor, and try to, again, use the resources that are available. I'm going to give you some more here. Okay, example of some change talk. is, I'm really feeling depressed that I don't have decent grades. They normally say, well, you should get bigger grades. That's not the way you should do it. It's more like, hey, I know that you've been saying you want to get better grades. What do you think's getting in the way of that? What's going on? Again, open-ended questions, not coming down on them and saying, you're not depressed. Oh, you need to just shake it off and get over it. Again, we need to change the way we're talking and listening to our kids. It's counterproductive to have this conversation if your child's under the influence, racing out the door, overly tired, or angry. So get them when they're calm and talk to them and listen to them. Another one, I think I'm really upset. I was out of it. So what do you think is impacting your relationship? How is your use of what's going on? Again, listen to your child, listen to your teenager, talk with them, open-ended questions. Try not to come down hard on them, but listen and help them through that, because they are, especially if they're using, they're stuck in this life. Okay, there's so many resources out here for opioid assistance. Okay, Arizona has this referral line that you can access 24 hours a day. Again, if you need to write this down, go ahead and pause the presentation and write these things down, and then continue with the presentation. 3 important things to do when you're seeking treatment for a loved one, and those 3: ask questions, support the recovery, and self-care. And we're going to go over right here. Help for parents and caregivers for some self-care. Partnership to end addiction. The instructions, again, pause this video at this point and look on the right. It gives you an example to text JOIN to 55753. You're going to ask a series of questions about your child and their substance use, and then you're going to get specific information to support your family, to your family's needs. Again, parent coaching, offering peer-to-peer support. A lot of families struggle and they need help just coping, some self-care for yourself, not only for the person who is addicted or dependent, but they need some help for them. They're the caregivers. And here again, partnership to end addiction. You can download a flyer. You can go to drugfree.org /helpline. Again, pause this if you need to write this down and search it out. Okay, here are the Arizona resources. Again, I told you about naloxone.com. If you go in there and enter your zip code, you're going to get some coalitions all over the valley that you can click on. They'll give you a number or a website that you can contact to get some free naloxone. It's available through Access. The Department of Health Services in Arizona has made this available to coalitions for us to give out to the. Here are some, again, talknowaz.com, talk early and talk often. We talked about naloxoneaz.com, opioidod.com, learnmoreaz.com. Again, pause this if you need to write these down. Now, we also have a coalition as well, and we have one in Glendale, we have one in Buckeye, we have coalitions all over the state of Arizona. I'm from the Primary Prevention Coalition 3PC. If you want to scan this QR code, it takes you to our resource page on our website. If you would like to contact me, if you have any questions about this presentation, if you're watching this later on down the road, feel free to give me an email or reach out to me by phone and ask some questions. Now, the rise of fentanyl in Arizona, our presentation is done. Again, if you have questions, please contact me. I'd like you to go ahead and pause this presentation at this time. Scan the QR code for our post-test, the post-survey, I should say, or type in the URL from SurveyMonkey, and please take that. Again, it helps our coalition out to understand what you knew beforehand, what you know now, and it gives us feedback as to how to change the presentation if we weren't clear or if some part of the information is not getting across. So again, pause this at this time and go ahead and take that survey, please. And when you're done, you can unpause the survey and we'll be complete. So thank you all for coming out today or watching this online, which is this is a recorded presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to back up, rewind the presentation on YouTube, and have my information, and either email me, or if you need any part of this or any of the websites that were listed in this, feel free to rewind and go back in this presentation or reach out. We appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming.